and welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. My name is Rachel Fields, and I'm an occupational therapy student at Pfeiffer University.
And my name is Julia Margiotti, and I'm also an occupational therapy student at Pfeiffer University. And we are here today to present to you our program that we designed called Helping Hands, Tools for Pre-Handwriting Skills. This is a course that we designed to educate preschool educators, specifically those who are teaching children with Down syndrome, how they can support their children with Down syndrome in developing pre-handwriting skills before they move on to kindergarten.
And a little background information on children with Down syndrome. Down syndrome deficits in general, they tend to have decreased muscle tone, poor emotional regulation skills, impulsivity, attention difficulties, poor fine motor, poor gross motor, and oral motor concerns that have to do with feeding. For our purposes today, we're going to focus specifically on the poor fine motor skills, the decreased muscle tone, and the difficulty with grasping and manipulating objects, because that all has to do with how the student develops their pre-handwriting skills. And there has been a difference. Studies have shown that preschool students with Down syndrome develop more slowly their pre-handwriting skills than typical students, and this leads to difficulties later on in life.
And those poor fine motor skills and the low tone also affects, as well as the decreased size of their hands. They often have smaller hands and smaller thumbs, which can become a difficult situation when tools are made for the typical kids. So we have brought a few adapted tools to show you that you could possibly use in your classroom to help these children develop their pre-handwriting skills. The first one we have is one that you probably have in your classroom as well. It is just a regular crayon that we broke in half. And you can break them to different sizes depending on the size of the child's hand. This one you can break in half. It is mainly for children who grasp the pencil or writing utensil too high. Yes, so they'll hold it at the end. And they have a good grasp, but it's causing them to have less tension, so they're writing really lightly. If you break it in half, it forces them to put that grip lower down so that they are able to apply that more pressure. Then we also have crayons that are just a little bit thicker. This could be helpful if the child has difficulty grasping down on the thinner crayon. So this will just be able to give them more pressure in their hand. It's a lot easier. It requires less strength to grasp a thicker utensil. Then we have these easy grip crayons. Some people also call them crayon rocks. And these help with the development of that 3-point grasp that we see when we are writing. A lot of kids in preschool will do this grasp when they're unsure or have poor fine motor skills, which is what we see with children who have Down syndrome. So to get them away from that fisted grasp, you can give them a rock crayon. And the shape of it is pretty flat and thin, so it makes it difficult to wrap your hand around it because you have all this open space. It doesn't feel comfortable. Children naturally tend to grab this with the 3-point grasp, but you can demonstrate that for them and help them. If they get anywhere near this, that is helping them develop that 3-point grasp. Children often, when they are able to do this, have difficulty applying pressure. And when we get to that point, it's not as much the fine motor, it's more strength that we're looking at. So they have the ability to do that 3-point grasp, they just don't have the strength or the tone to be able to push down, which is where our last adapted crayon comes in. These are stackable crayons, and they look like this. They have a round base at the bottom. These ones are cute, they just have animals on them. And an open space in the middle. There's different things that you can do with these. The main way that you can use these are for strengthening those hand muscles. You can have my hand's a little big for this, but the child grasp it in a fist, and that's probably the strongest point of their hand. So you are increasing that tone, as well as that ability to practice other pre-handwriting skills, such as moving the arm, that they wouldn't be able to get with something that they're not as comfortable with. And also they'll be able to apply that pressure and feel the difference between the pressure. You can also, if you're working on the fine motor dexterity that is required during handwriting skills, which is the movement of the fingers, you can have them put their fingers in the crayon and move it this way, because that's strengthening these muscles in these two fingers, which are required for the 3-point grasp, as well as the manipulation of something in their hand. So those are the 3 options, or 4, I guess, because we have the broken one, that we are actually going to pass around now and let you get a chance to look at and feel, and maybe think about for a minute how you would describe to the child that you're handing them to how to use them.
While you guys are fiddling with those adaptive crayon tools, they can be very fun, we decided it would be a great opportunity to show you an example of a session between the teacher and the child that you could implement in your classroom. And we're just going to show you how you can direct the children, your students with Down syndrome, on how to use these different adaptive devices. So we're going to just get a blank piece of paper, and for this session we're going to use the crayon rock. And it's a good idea to start out any sort of interaction with the child. You can give them a warm-up activity, something that they really enjoy. You know your students better than anyone else, so if they enjoy running around or music and songs, you can give them some time to warm up and really get excited with that, and then we can sit down and start the activity. And you can even gear the activity towards their personal interests, and that will really motivate them to want to participate, and they're not even going to know that they're developing their grasp and their fine motor skills and their low tone. They're just going to be like, oh, this is fun. So here is what a session would look like between a teacher and a student with Down syndrome.
So after I did a little warm up, getting their hands moving, maybe if that's movement is something that they like, and I knew that I was going to use these rocks, first thing I would do is introduce it to the student, because they've never seen this before. It doesn't look like a crayon. So I'd say, one thing I could do is first say, do you know what this is?
A crayon.
They answered a crayon. So I'm going to say, do you know what this is?
No.
So then I would say, it's a crayon too. It just looks a little different. I hold it like this. Do you want to try? Good. How's that feel?
Feels good.
Feels good. So I'm going to hold one too. Can we just color for a minute together? What's your favorite thing to draw?
I like to draw trees.
Trees. Can you draw a tree for me? And at this point, I'm going to just be looking at how she's holding it, the amount of pressure she's putting. So right now I'm looking and I'm seeing that she is applying really light pressure. So at first I want to see if she can do deeper pressure with it. So I'm saying, I like your calling. Look how dark I can draw. Can you draw that dark? Push down hard. So if I see that she's able to do that, then I know that I'm good with this. She just needed a little direction on how to use it. If she wasn't able to do that, then I would say, look, I have another crayon. You hold this one like this. Do you want to try? No, it's the idea. Can you color with that one? Can you finish your tree with that one? And I would start there to see how she's moving her arm and stuff, and work on maybe the wrist movement and the push down with that, as well as the arm movement. And she already has her arm off the table, so that's not a concern. But since she was fine with that one, we're going to stick with the rock. And once we get into the groove of coloring and she's finished her tree, maybe I ask her to describe it to me, I'm going to start doing things that I want her to imitate with those pre-handwriting skills, such as making circles, straight lines, and horizontal and vertical motions, as well as diagonal lines, because those are all the shapes that you need to be able to do to form letters when you're writing. So I'm going to say, watch what I can do. Circle, 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 stop. Can you try? Circle, 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 stop. Good. A lot of kids at this point want to keep doing circles. So if I saw that, if she was doing and kept doing circles, be like, oh, watch this. Circle, 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 stop. You try. circle, 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 stop. Good. And sometimes that might be too difficult for them at that point. The circle is kind of the last thing to develop. That's one way you can do it. Another thing we can do is lines. We want to get their attention with that sound that I'm making. So the circle, 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 stop is really intriguing. So we're going to do the same thing with a line. I'm going to get a new piece of paper. So now I'm going to say, I'm going to draw a line. Down, 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 stop. Can you try? Down, 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 stop. Good. And again, kids want to do that up, do that up, down, up, down, up, down. And if she's doing that, I'm going to show her again. I'm going to say, whoop, down, 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 stop. And show her that motion. Down, 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 stop. Good. And so same thing with horizontal. We're gonna make a different sound though. And I'm gonna show her all the way across, stop. Your turn. All the way across, stop. Good. So this is the first thing to develop again with the copying. So I'm showing her how I'm doing it and then she's copying what I'm doing. If that is too easy for the child, you can also go ahead and before you give them the paper, do different lines in different circles and section them out. This is a rough example, but you have different sections that show a straight line down, a horizontal line, diagonal line, and circle line. You can hand it to them and say, cover one or just give them one at a time. Can you do straight lines? And then have them mark straight lines. So that's the next thing to develop. Then once they've got a grasp of that, you can also just give them a blank paper and say, can you show me how you make a straight line? Good job. Can you make one going the other way across the paper? Good. Can you make a line from corner to corner? Good. And can you show me a circle? Very good. So that's the progression. So they shouldn't, when they're first starting, they shouldn't be able to just draw a circle when you say a circle. You have to first show them how to do it, and then they can copy. And then you can give them an image of it, and then they can copy. And that's the same with any of these. So developing those skills, even if they're still on that fisted grasp and gaining strength, they can still develop the skill on how to make a straight line up, horizontal, circle, and diagonal. And then you can move on and grade the different utensil that you're using to get them up to a regular crayon, just like their peers.
And it'll take a lot of hand over hand when you're first showing them how to do the motion and when to stop in the appropriate line length and direction.
And they won't get it the first time. You might show them hand over hand and say down, 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 and stop, and they're able to follow you. They're not resisting, but as soon as you let go, they go back to that scribbling. But again, those motions that they're doing with their arm are still developing pre-handwriting skills, as that we know that they have that global low tone all over their body. So it might not be those hand movements that are hard, but those arm movements that are hard. So if we're moving our arm and we used to keep it on the table, or we're used to keeping it on the air and moving it and we put it down on the table, that's improvement. If we're just moving our wrist and not our whole arm, again, that's improvement. So you're looking for small things, but these tools are definitely a big support that you can use to help the children with Down syndrome develop these skills. So now that we've demonstrated, we're gonna hand it off to you. We want you guys to pair up, and we're going to pass these around. You guys can take one of each, and then go ahead and practice doing your own session, teaching or thinking about how you're going to teach your student how to use the material, and trying out the different techniques that we did as well.
All right, thank you guys so much for participating, and I love seeing that you're all collaborating and thinking of new ways that you can introduce this information to your students. If you have any other questions, we will be available. You can email us and contact us, and we would love to help you out. Again, it is really important for these students with Down syndrome to be able to get a chance to develop these skills when there's been a known difference in developmental delays with these skills, and developing that fine motor and developing the low muscle tone, and all of these skills are really important to their future occupation in education. And you guys are setting that foundation, which is a great opportunity, and we hope that this has helped you to be able to do that, and we hope you can implement these skills and these adaptive tools into your classrooms.
And just one more thing before we go, I wanted to state that I know cost can be a concern when you want to implement this stuff into your classroom. So the materials that we are showing you, like the broken crayon, you have crayons in your class, just don't throw them away when they break. So that's no cost at all for you. These ones actually, $2 at Walmart, and these ones were around $4 at Walmart. So they last you a long time. This is a very big tip, so it takes a while for them to get used down, and you have all these options. So even if you're not providing them to the students all the time, if you're just doing it during color time and providing to the students who need them, they should last you a good amount of time, and like I said, $2 and $4. But yeah, we appreciate you coming to our class, and again, reach out to us if you need anything. Thanks.
Thank you.